ammonia can then progress and get to a point of large industrialization and a lot of support, especially here in China. I was very pleased to then see all the work that they had done. And now, after some of the videos that I've seen just yesterday, I'm most amazed of what they have accomplished over these last couple of years. So let me introduce Professor Jibing Chen and also Professor Chuyun Shang, are going to then be presenting some of the work they're doing on the production of ceramic, tiles, and components using ammonia as a fuel. Please.
Okay, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. And first of all, thanks the organizer to give me this opportunity. For me, Miss Chu Yinjiang of Mona Lisa Group to make a presentation here. The title of my talk is the ammonia combustion for manufacturing of ceramic tiles. My name is Yibing Chen from Foshan Xianhu Laboratory in Guangdong, China. Now, let me to first of all give a very brief introduction about the Foshan Xianhu Laboratory. The Xianhu Laboratory is jointly established by Foshan City Government and the Wuhan University of Technology. The institute is focused on hydrogen energy research. It's also establishing the National Energy Key Laboratory for new hydrogen ammonia energy technologies. It was established in the end of 2019, and in the first phase, the funding was $210 million US, and the current phase is about 280 million. It's fully funded by the government. Now, the institute is focused in two areas. One is the hydrogen energy and the fuel cell technology. Another is hydrogen ammonia technology. So the first stream is using hydrogen through the electrochemistry to convert it into electricity. The second stream is using hydrogen as a fuel to generate heat to either power the internal combustion engine or to power the industrial furnaces. I'm heading to this second stream. That is zero carbon combustion center in this lab. In our center, we have a research team, engineer team, as well as a technology transfer team. Now, this is our lab. Our lab is 1,700 square meters, and we have a number of pilot scale industrial kilns, and they can fulfill of a number of different functions. They can either for firing ceramics or aluminum melting or coal-fired boilers and aluminum extrusion and the various different types of industrial products, which is largely fit into Foshan industrial structure. All these furnaces are equipped with hydrogen and the natural gas as a fuel. Now, the objective of setting up of this center is largely to meet the high temperature industrial challenge because China is a heavy manufacturing country. And in China, we have a lot of high temperature related industries, electricity generation, metallurgy, and the steel, and the ceramics, cement, and glass, and so on. All these industries, they are major sources for carbon emission. Now, if you look at this map here, the power generation, heating, manufacturing, and building materials, they count for over 70% of carbon emission in China. So this is a very large proportion of carbon emission. Chinese government has committed to achieve carbon dioxide emission peaking by 2030 and to achieve carbon neutrality before 2060. We call them double carbon targets. Now, China, to meet these double carbon targets, we must meet the challenge of the high temperature industries. We must develop low combustion or zero combustion technologies. And as we know that there are only two scalable renewable carbon-free fuels, which are hydrogen and ammonia. And we all know that these two, when they combust, we do not produce carbon dioxide. When they mixed with fossil fuels, it is a reduction of carbon emission. When they fully replace the fossil fuels, they can go to very low carbon emission or zero carbon emission. Now, for all these two fuels, we have tested them all. We have mixed the hydrogen with natural gas or ammonia with natural gas. We can do them fully or mixed. And you can see that they have no problems in combustion. But there is a problem for hydrogen because the transportation of hydrogen is quite challenging. And the storage of hydrogen in large quantities is also quite challenging. And this is a particular issue for manufacturing industries. Let me give you an example. For a ceramic or production line, it requires 8 tons of hydrogen. And they require for 24 hours firing, 7 days a week, and 300 days a year. So for that, you must have a certain quantity of hydrogen to store in the factory. In today's technology, that is quite difficult. And if you store 3 days fuel, that is 24 tons of hydrogen. In today's technology and regulation, that is almost impossible. Whereas in ammonia, it's a different story. Because ammonia was a fertilizer, was a chemical, and their regulations and are quite mature. And they can be transported by trucks, by ships. On the Russia and American has a long pipes operated over 40 years for transport liquid ammonia. And they can also have a very large storage. And you can see that they have a 40-ton storage. These are quite mature. Now, in the recent years, China has initiated quite a lot of activities related to ammonia as a fuel. Now, recent development in July 15, that is 2 months ago, Chinese Energy Administration, that's the Chinese government, has announced the action plan to test 3 decarbonization technologies in coal-fired power plants. And they advised to incorporating more than 10% of either biomass or green ammonia to achieve 20% reduction by 2025 and a 50% reduction by 2027 compared to 2023 levels. So what does that mean? In China, about 60% of electricity is generated from coal. Now, in today's Chinese standard, for coal power generated electricity, each kilowatts power emit 0.91 kilograms of carbon dioxide. Whereas for natural gas, each kilowatts hour electricity produce 0.46 kilogram of carbon dioxide. So what does that mean? It means that natural gas generated power emission is roughly about 50% of coal power emission. So according to that, you can see that by this demonstration action plan, it aims by 2027 the coal power generated electricity in China should meet roughly the natural gas emission. So that is a quite effective way of doing carbon peaking. Okay, let me give you some progress we are making ceramics. Now, on the 27th of December 2021, the Xianhu laboratory combined with two local industries in Foshan, that is Osino Ceramics and the DLT Technologies. One is to make ceramics, another is to make ceramic furnaces. And we formed a joint R&D center for advanced zero carbon combustion technology. The aim was to modify this 30 meters long pilot line from natural gas to ammonia. And as you know that, there are a number of challenges to combust ammonia. And because ammonia, the nominal velocity is low, and the flammability limit is very narrow, and the ignition energy is quite high. And also, because of nitrogen containing, there is nitric oxide emission. So for doing this ammonia combustion in industry, you must take over the three major challenges. That is, how do you do a controllable ignition? How do you do a controllable and stable high temperature combustion? And most importantly, that is how to control the NOx emissions and the residual ammonia. So on that basis, we developed ammonia for stable ignition and combustion. And in here, you can see that this is a normal burner. You can see we can ignite it, but we can't do the combustion. All right. Whereas for the new burner we developed, you can have a stable ignition, and you can also have a stable combustion. So that's very important to develop a specially designed ammonia combustor. Then we start to retrofit of this kiln using the newly developed burners. And we developed the multi-level approaches for de-noxing in ceramic kilns. The first step is stage burning, and then as NCR, and then SCR. For the stage combustion burner, and that has been very effective. Okay, you can see that the reduction of the NOx by the stage burner has been quite obvious. All right, and also we have done the selective non-catalytic reaction for NOx reduction. Now, this is the advantage for doing ceramic kilns, because the firing temperature in ceramics is 1250. You can very easily to identify a region in the kiln round about 900 degrees C, allows you for SNCR. So, and also obviously the final stage, we have SCR for final denoxing. And you can see that after all this, and the reduction of the NOx is very obvious. Finally you can get about 1 digital ppm. After this combined multi-level approaches, we can significantly reduce the NOx. And you can see that the stage burner is reduced roughly about 35% efficiency. With SNCR is roughly about 50%. The final SCR is you can achieve 90% efficiency. So the final the NOx emission is getting very low. It's getting very low. So on the 18th of December 2022, we have successfully made the world's first carbon-free fuel fabricated ceramic tiles. This is around 700 by 700 millimeters tile, and this was fully fired by 100% ammonia. And this is certified by the third-party companies who have done the exhaust analysis and also has done some tests. And you can see that on the right side, the blue bars is the government regulation for NOx, for sulfur dioxide, for particles. With the green bar is our result. You can see that the NOx is far below of the government regulation, whereas the sulfur dioxide is almost you can't see sulfur dioxide, whereas the particles is also very low. Whereas after this pilot study, obviously the challenge is that how are you going to move this further to mass production? And there are a number of challenges for doing mass production because of the high cost of the retrofitting of the production line. Ammonia is much more expensive than natural gas. There's no industrial standard or regulations for the ammonia as a fuel. Ammonia has never as a fuel, so there's no regulation or standard to allow us for doing that. And also, the house market in China is cooling, so the sales of the floor tires is also reduced, made the companies more difficult to implement the new technologies, and also another issue is that there's not enough green ammonia for you to do so. Let me to tell you a tale of two private ceramic companies in doing this pilot study converted into a mass production. The pilot study was, our collaborator was Osino. Osino is a private company. His parent company was market listed. The sales of 2023 is roughly about $450 million annual sales. And they are making all various different kind of floor tiles of ceramics. Now, let me start to introduce another company, that is Mona Lisa. Mona Lisa is also a ceramic tile company, and it's also on itself is a public listed, and its annual sale is roughly about 950 million. So it's roughly two times of the size of the Osino in terms of ceramic tiles. Now, by the later 2022, before we actually started our pilot work, the Osino has actually informed me that they will continue to complete the pilot study. However, after pilot study, they have no funding for doing mass production. They have already informed me, and that made me a bit of nervous. Now, obviously, for me, my objective is to move that to industrial production. So, on that basis, I start to talk to Mona Lisa. Mona Lisa is also in Foshan, is one of the leading companies, ceramic companies in China. Is the first public listed company, ceramic company in China. And the Mona Lisa expressed the interest for doing they have a 300 meters long ceramic tile production line, and they like me to convert that into ammonia. That is 1.2 million square meters of ceramic tiles per year of production. Now, how are we going to solve the intellectual property issue? These two companies are exactly competitive companies. They're doing almost exactly the same products. Whereas the first company, both are private, public listed company. Now, after many discussions, I mean, you can imagine, many discussions, finally a win-win scenario. Now, we agreed to accept Mona Lisa as a new partner in this joint center, and both companies will allow each other to access its zero carbon combustion IP for free. So Osino allows Mona Lisa to use in the pilot scale studies IP for free, and Mona Lisa allows Osino to using their production IP. So we formed a five organizations formed a new consortium, and in fact, all these four companies are private companies, and they are all the platinum of this conference, and so they are very keen of doing that. So on the 21st April last year, we have reached this agreement, which is great. And by the end of last year, we have launched the Mona Lisa mass production line, and that has announced this one start to work. Now, actually, not until April this year, we start to retrofit this 300 meters long of the ceramic tiles production line. And you can see that this is fully retrofitted with new burners and the various denoxing facilities, and also construction of the ammonia station. Now, when we're doing construction of ammonia station, we meet a lot of challenges, and as you can imagine. And this will be the first ammonia fuel tank built in a non-chemical site, in a factory site. There's no such regulation, okay? In Mona Lisa kiln requires 12 tons of liquid ammonia per day, whereas in China, anything that is over 10 tons of ammonia storage is regarded as a major hazardous source. And that requires very strict permissions and various different kind of regulations. So we have to talk to Foshan local government. And in the end, they are very, very supportive. And they made our project as a demonstration project. And they allowed us to build up a 30-ton tank for doing the storage in the side of the factory. And in addition, the Shanghai district, where these companies and our lab located, they published a new guidelines for all the enterprises in the Shanghai district to construct the self-used ammonia station. I was amazed. And they are actually not only supported us, they extended that support to other organizations, enterprise. So we constructed our ammonia tanks. Communication with government is extremely important for doing this kind of project. Without them, because so many regulations, restrictions. And currently, the government is very supportive. The Shanghai district government is currently planning to provide a few subsidies for the first 5 demonstration projects who are using ammonia as fuel for 3 years. I was very, very pleased to hear that. Okay, so we start to retrofit this 300 meters line. This is a before retrofitting, beautiful site. We made the whole mass during the retrofit, and this is the final outcome. We finished this project just 3 weeks ago. And now this is where we have fit, okay? You can see the whole queue. We actually ignite this line on the 10th of September, less than 2 weeks ago. And you can see I have made this movie on Saturday, just before I took the plan yesterday. And in this section is the firing section. And you can see there's a fire observer window in there. You can see that this is ammonia fired temperature, 1250 degrees. The whole lines are fired by ammonia, 100% pure ammonia. And in the right side is a drying section. So all the exhausted gas through the heat exchanger to the firing side of it. So you can see that this is quite amazing. I can tell you, I'm a university. By looking at the end of this come out in this way, I was so impressed. Okay, and as I said, that this industry people, they are so advanced, even beyond my expectation, in terms of this acceptance of this new approach and the new movement of renewable energy. So on Saturday, we have done some initial testing runs for this 900 by 1800 by 5 millimeter thick of big ceramic tiles. And the initial results were very encouraging, And I can tell you, the official launch of full production will come in very soon. Okay, and we will in the next few days. Now that we are hoping to have an initial launch. Let me to give you a brief summary. The high temperature manufacturing industry is a major source of carbon dioxide emission and needs technologies to decarbonize to meet the country's dual carbon goals. Hydrogen and ammonia are carbon-free fuels and can be made renewably in industry scales. Combustion of hydrogen and ammonia can be a low carbon or zero carbon technology for high temperature manufacturing industries. Okay, this is a beautiful Xianhu laboratory, and in the daytime and the nighttime, Xianhu, Foshan Xianhu laboratory in Chinese character. Foshan means Buddha mountain. Xianhu means fairy lake. So you see, we got all. We got a Buddha mountain, we got a fairy lake. So we got a legendary place. I thank you all for your attention. Now, before I finish, let me to introduce my colleague, Miss Chu Yinzhang. She's the assistant to president of Mona Lisa, and she's representing Mona Lisa here today to give you a perspective from the industrial company's point of view. Ms. Zhang.
Dear academic professors, guests, and industry colleagues, good morning. I want to begin by expressing my gratitude to academician Chen for his profound insights and detailed technical analysis. He has just shared the background of ammonia hydrogen combustion technology, highlighting the breakthrough achieved through collaboration among academic and various sectors, overcoming challenges in high temperature manufacturing. This achievement provide us with groundbreaking low carbon solutions and for a green transition in high temperature industry. My name is Churing, assistant to the president and member of the brand management team at Mona Lisa Group. It is an honor to stand here as a representative of the group and as a member of the younger generation of business leaders in China's building ceramics industry. Now, I would like to introduce Mona Lisa Group, share how our green philosophy is embedded in our corporate culture, and explain our commitment to the ammonia hydrogen zero carbon combustion project. Finally, I will discuss our future direction in this and over. So here's my content list. I will go through these 3 chapters. So who are we? Founding 1992, Mona Lisa Group is headquartered in Xiqiao Town, Nanhai District, Foshan City, which Mr. Chen just mentioned, the Buddha City, known for its beauty. We were the first building ceramics enterprise listed on the Shenzhen A-share main board, with over 5,000 employees and 10 some companies, and a comprehensive integration of research, development, creative design, specialized production, and market operations. Mona Lisa is an industry leader. We operate our 4 production bases and run 37 production lines, achieving annual production capacity of approximately 131 million square meters. We lead the nation in ceramic slab industrialization. Our development strategy focusing on big tiles, big materials, and big home. We are pioneering in large format tiles and cinder stones. Mona Lisa, QD, and Murky are our key brands. We, with Mona Lisa tiles, recognized as one of the China's leading brands. Domestically, we have 4,000 stores and distribution points. With internationally, we have over 40 of our, including 28 flagship stores overseas. Our mission is to beautifying architecture and living space, creating greater value for our employees, customers, and society by integrating Eastern and Western humanism, technology, and aesthetics. We bring the smile of Mona Lisa into thousands of homes. For clarity, I will refer to Mona Lisa as shorthand for Mona Lisa Group, and to the ceramic industries ammonia hydrogen zero carbon combustion technology demonstration project as the ammonia hydrogen project. The second chapter, I will present Mona Lisa's green philosophy. In China, the building ceramics industry is at a crucial transition point from traditional manufacturing to advanced production capacity, particularly when compared to more technologically mature fields like photovoltaics, 5G, and lithium batteries. Our industry faces significant changes from high temperature combustion, high energy consumption, and emissions. However, we firmly believe that the path to green transformation is irreversible. For many years, Mona Lisa has committed to green development, becoming one of the most companies in the global building ceramic industry to drive significant carbon reduction. As a private enterprise, we recognize our responsibility and take on a leadership role, setting an example for local companies and inspiring high energy consumption industry to pursue green and development through great actions. We have 3 core principles of environmental production, and these guide our action and embedded in every project we undertake. We have clearly defined our strategic direction for promoting green and low carbon development and establishing the necessary organization structure to implement our green transformation. For more details, our 2023 sustainability progress report is available at our booth, and feel free to take if you are interested. To drive green production and technological innovation, Mona Lisa has implemented carbon reduction initiatives throughout the entire production process. As early as 2007, we undertook a key national project as part of the government's first government's plan, 5-year plan, establishing China's first production lines for 1,800 millimeters times 900 millimeters, and the thickness is only 5.5 millimeters, dry pressed ceramic slabs. The products that Mr. Chen introduced just now, we make 3 millimeters products. This innovation allows us to maintain large sizes while reducing tile thickness, converting raw materials, reducing forming times, and improving transportation and delivery efficiency due to lighter weights. In terms of technological innovation, this year we introduced advanced ammonia hydrogen zero carbon combustion technology and have gradually integrated into our tile and slab production lines, aiming to replace traditional fossil fuels. Additionally, we have promoted photovoltaic projects to achieve cleaner energy and carbon reduction goals. In terms of energy saving and environmental management, we have implemented a comprehensive energy consumption management system, developed intelligent environmental management system, and improved energy efficiency through technological upgrades and energy. The company pays particular attention to the management of exhaust gases, wastewater, and solid waste, using advanced technologies to ensure that emissions meet standards, and wastewater is recycled and solid water is sorted, treated, and recycled. Mona Lisa's dust control technology from version 1.0 to current 5.0 leads the industry in energy saving and emission reduction, setting the standard for green manufacturing. Through green design and manufacturing, we have achieved zero wastewater discharge and 100% of waste ceramic materials and wall clay, ensuring that our entire production process is environmentally friendly and further advancing the circular economy. Our measures not only align with the national double carbon policy goals, but also set an example for the green production of the ceramic industry. So here's a little story about the project behind, and that's long before the project begins. Mr. Qikang Zhang, director, who is the director and board secretary of Mona Lisa Group, who is also my father, met Mr. Chen at a forum. Their shared assumption for zero carbon manufacturing sparked a strong connection. Following this, and the consensus was reached within Mona Lisa Group. Thus, on December last year, we officially launched the ammonia hydrogen project. Here we come to chapter 3, why we devote ourselves to the project. I imagine many of you are wondering, why is Mona Lisa investing such significant resources in a project with seemingly uncertain returns? In today's furthering competitive market. Mona Lisa, as a public listed company, has a responsibility to generate economic returns for our investors. Companies remain cautious regarding new energy projects, reviewing the high cost and low immediate returns as a deterrent to investment. So why is Mona Lisa boldly stepping forward? To answer this, let me draw an analogy to flight. The initial phase of a flight consumes the most fuel, while cruising consumes significantly less. This is very similar to Mona Lisa's ammonia hydrogen project. The early stage of the project, like the takeoff of the plane, require heavy investment and face many challenges. However, we believe that once the technology matures and is widely applied, we will enter a cruising phase where the economic benefits and brand value will become apparent. We're not solely focused on short-term profits. Rather, we are aiming to enhance the long-term value of our brand through green and sustainable development. The green label itself has significant value when customers realize that our products are not only of high quality, but also represent environmental responsibility. They will have a greater affinity of our brand. Mona Lisa's goal is not only to reduce carbon emissions, but to elevate brand value, and create a greater market impact. We believe that green zero carbon products are not only about cost, but will also become a core advantage in future brand competition. What we are doing is not only technological innovation, but opening a new path for brand value growth. We believe that as the market acceptance of green products continues to grow, consumers will not only purchase our products, but also recognize that they are contributing to environmental protection. This shift in consumer awareness will allow Mona Lisa to stand out in the future competition. And the ammonia hydrogen project not only delivers tangible carbon reduction benefits, but will also significantly enhance our brand image and market positions. It is this long-term green value that we truly consider our most important return. Therefore, Mona Lisa is not making a high-cost, low-return investment. On the contrary, we are strategically investing in a greener, more sustainable future with long-lasting value. And soon, our very first products will coming from the mass production line. Please focus on our website or officially account to follow up the news. Actually, the breakthrough in ammonia hydrogen zero carbon combustion technology not only lays the foundation for Mona Lisa's zero carbon future, but also opens a new sustainable path for the entire ceramics industry and global high temperature manufacturing. This practical and efficient zero carbon technology may very well ushers in the end of the fossil fuel era for high temperature industries, replaced by the perfect clean energy, ammonia and hydrogen. Through our actions, we hope to inspire more companies to join the green transition. Only by working together we can truly green zero and mission
we're doing. Pleasure in the forefront. I use to with this and John decorate the Society of Catalysis is Dr. Chidambar but he's got role of in pushing forward. Well, advancing some of these innovation systems is unique and again forefront for the business that Siemens has been pushing forward. So to thank you and then invite you to then give your presentation.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and dear for your very kind introduction. And I also would like to thank the organizing committee, in particular our chair, Professor Lee, for hosting this great event. I'm Ling from Singapore. Today, my part will be sharing some of our progresses of a new center in Singapore, Center of Hydrogen Innovation. I will narrow down to the ammonia projects in our center. And finally, I will be talking a little bit of ammonia cracking. Singapore is a relatively newcomer for hydrogen economy. Years ago, the nation has founded its first center for hydrogen research. That's Center for Hydrogen. It is jointly established by Temasek as well as National University of Singapore as the first phase initial investment of 25 Singapore dollars. That's close to 20 million US. And we have just started the second phase. So only 2 years ago, we have this inverter. We started operation from the 1st of July, 2022. And in the next years, our lab, now the center has a temporary lab of 800 square meters together with office. The National University of Singapore is constructing a new building on sustainability and resilience, and the center is to further expand to more than 2,000 square meters in another 3 years' time. It is the first of its in Southeast Asia. The center targets to play as a catalyst, trying to link into that includes a lot of PIs, actually more than 40 of them from the local research institute, University of Singapore, Nanyang Technological University, as well as A-Star. At the same time, we hope to, with the industry partners. So far, the center has about 20 industry collaborators, as well as national collaborator. We have signed strategic collaboration partnership with some of the leading institutes in the US as well as in Asia. And finally, we hope to work very closely with local agencies to help them policy regulation as well as to seek the support to make hydrogen economy to come into. The center has 4 major research directions that includes the entire supply for hydrogen. And the first one is low carbon hydrogen production. The second one is hydrogen storage system. Thirdly, ammonia belongs to here. And the third one is hydrogen utilization. And last but not least, is the synthesis fuels. So far, the center has 29 ongoing projects. The remaining belong to 2 categories. First category is the center self-funded smaller scale projects. The TRL level is typically 3, and we have about 20 of these projects. The major purpose of these smaller scale projects is sky research to collect preliminary data, to prove the concept, and to establish initial collaboration. On top of that, we have a few bigger scale, pilot scale projects, and to solve problems at TRL level 3 to 5. As I just mentioned, a printer is new. We don't have commercial product yet. However, we do have a strong emphasis on that. And from the beginning of the center, we have a very clear 2 pathways towards commercialization. Pathway starts by having a quantum leap hydrogen research grant, which has a size of 250 to 300 Singapore dollar. And this is a small scale, but afterwards, we hope some of these smaller projects pilot scale projects jointly with company and government. And at this stage, the typical funding size will be 15 million Singapore dollars. For this type of pathway towards commercialization, collaboration with industry is, as one example we are mentioning later, we have very nice collaboration with Siemens Energy. And the second part start also with an internal small grant, hydrogen horizon prototype grant. The funding is 50K Singapore dollar. And on top of that, NUS will training education as well as another 250K seeding grant, so that the project after will be able to establish a spin-off company. And then Temasek and other founders will provide seed fund, Series A fund, etc., etc. So it is venture capital. And along this pathway, education, culture building, and collaboration with venture capitals are the key. Now, allow me to narrow down the research projects in our center to ammonia. In our center, we have one project on ammonia already finished, and 5 projects on ammonia still going on. All of them are related on ammonia synthesis, and 3 projects are related on ammonia. These application projects include one on fuel cell, and one on turbine, and one on for maritime use. I will elaborate a little bit more on the internal combustion engine, and then later partial cracking for turbine application. The first example is a new development ammonia marine engine. This project is not led by me. It is led by one PI in our center, Wenming, from mechanical engineering in National University of Singapore. He first analyzed the bottleneck that faced by some of the state-of-the-art ammonia marine engines. The key issues include the low ammonia energy ratio, the low thermal efficiency, typically less than 40% generation, as well as very high concentration of unburned ammonia. To tackle these challenges, he and a few collaborators has come up with a design of new ammonia. I'm not an expert for the engine, but based on my understanding, this design is based on a new concept called gender reforming gas recirculation. And with this new concept and the new design based on the modeling, about 10 times of the unburned ammonia, also 10 times of the NOx generation with an efficiency of over 15%. So this is a modeling study, designing study supported by our center. And this work has attracted strong interest from the local agencies, in particular, Maritime Port of Singapore. And they are willing to support Professor Yang with an over $10 million pilot grant and his collaborators. I believe Shanghai Jiao is also a key partner for this joint effort. They are going to work to build a pilot scale proof of concept engine that's based on this new concept. The next topic, which myself is involved, is one project on partial cracking of ammonia together with gas turbine combustion. This project is by Professor Zhang Huangwei, also from mechanical engineering at National University of Singapore. Huangwei is, I believe he's somewhere in the audience today. He's an expert in combustion technology. The team comprises multiple people, not only from mechanical engineering, but also from chemical engineering, from materials, as well as a few other institutes in Singapore, NUS, NTU, as well as AC. I'm lucky to be blessed to be supported by a team of strong international collaborators, a few researchers in Tohoku University in Japan, as well as Austin. Yeah, we already seen him a few times today, from Cardiff University, from KOST in Saudi Arabia. We have 3 industry partners, and the key industry partner, Siemens Energy. Actually, the project just started a few months ago, back in April 2024. Government support of $8.6 million and more than $3 million support from Siemens Energy. This picture was taken in May this year. This was the kick-off project. So we are very grateful, and not only the researchers in Singapore, this is tiny red dot here, but also researchers both from academia as well as industry travel a long way to Singapore, so that more than 30 people are together the starting of this pilot plant. A key for this project is ammonia combustion, but it is not a direct ammonia combustion. Rather, ammonia is partially cracked and then undergoes combustion. Why do we do partial combustion? For a number of reasons. We believe it enhances the combustion property of ammonia, and it may enhance engine combustion performance. And because of the endothermic nature of ammonia cracking, we may be able to utilize some of the so that the heat becomes the enthalpy of hydrogen and contributes to the combustion performance. From Siemens will further elaborate on the advantages of ammonia cracking. The overall research objective is to develop an integrated system with online cracking gas turbine combustion. And the specific objectives includes the development, scalable cracking technology, and the enhanced flame stability. And very importantly, this will be the critical part, is the development of an integrated cracking and combustion system. The overall project is divided into 5 working packages, with and packaging 2 as perhaps the most important supporting pillar. The work package 2 developed by myself, with the major target to develop scalable catalyst that is able to be used using waste heat recovered from the combustion system for the cracking to happen. And then the way includes flame diagonals and the cracker combustor coupling. So work package 2 and closes together, they really have to be an integrated system afterwards. On top of these 2, we do have 3 other packages. The first package is a modeling package, doing calculation, doing modeling, simulation. The major purpose is to model catalysis, model the flame kinetics, reaction kinetics, and the burner modeling, as well as gas turbine modeling. The work package 4 focuses on the treatment of exhaust gas, including removal of NOx, and finally work package 5, which is taken by Nanyang Technological University at system level modeling and simulation that includes combined cycle gas turbine, thermodynamic modeling, analysis, as well as environmental modeling. And finally, I will use a few minutes to talk about some of the research progress on the cracking side. We have been working on cracking catalyst design for about, so far, and the most common catalyst used for ammonia cracking includes nickel temperature cracking, as well as ruthenium for low temperature cracking. Considering the high price and availability, one of our key targets is to develop noble metal-free catalyst for ammonia cracking. And so the first generation of the catalyst that we have identified for ammonia cracking is cobalt, magnesium cobalt entropy mixture. The performance is as follows. At 500 degrees C, it can decompose ammonia almost 100% and very stable performance. We have tested online for 100 hours with no significant sign of deactivation. And at lower temperature, 450, it can crack between 90% to 50% depending on the space-time velocity. A slight disadvantage of this catalyst is that below 450, the activity becomes much less. Or we have developed a second generation catalyst based on the first generation cobalt. On top of that, lithium amide as a promoter. And this addition has significantly enhanced performance of the catalyst. At 350, for instance, it enhances hydrogen production by amount of catalyst usage. So depending on the temperature to use, higher temperature, we can rely on first generation. Lower temperature, we can rely on second generation of the catalysts. In this project, we have target is to make scalable synthesis of the cobalt magnesium catalyst. The current scale is 2.5 batch. That's really a lab batch. And we are under the way to develop medium partial cracker that requires 1 catalyst per batch. And correspondingly, the catalyst synthesis strategy has to meet the target. By the end of we are going to reach every batch, we are able to make 1 kilogram of the catalyst. So this is the catalyst upside. And then also for the cracker side, at present, the micro scale lab test is really slow, only 20 to 40 milliliter per minute of the cracking efficiency. We are already designed and built a small with almost 100 times enlarged efficiency, 0.1 kilogram per hour of cracking. And once the test done and optimized, we are going to do a parallel design so that the scale can be enhanced to meet a medium scale cracker level that will have a capacity of about 2 kilograms by the end of this project. And then I have a few more slides on the detail. Perhaps I can escape. And now let me invite Sanda from Siemens to talk, where he will introduce from Siemens' perspective how to scale up the technology and the general ways with universities. Sanda, please.
Good morning, distinguished guests from academia and industry, and thanks to the organizer giving Siemens Energy a chance to show our collaboration with academia. Thanks to Professor Agustin, Prof. Yanning, and Prof. Zhang, we've had almost a year plus of collaboration with them. Very pleasant experience. So what I will cover is more so our interest in ammonia, what we are intending to do, plus the work we have done so far. In addition, brief on Siemens Energy. So Siemens Energy is a spin-off of Siemens AG, which is a German company. We are about 100,000 employees strong. Our headquarters is in Berlin, in terms of our areas, we are an energy company that covers the entire. So from a generation standpoint, we have gas turbines that range from 2 megawatts to 800 megawatts in combined cycle. We also have our own wind generation business as well. So we have wind turbines that are onshore and offshore applications. And then we have the transmission part of the business. So once support the transmission lines through high voltage products, our FACS, AC transaction systems, as well as also we have our switchgears business as well. Transformation of industry mainly focuses on steam turbines, compressors. We have our automation, digitalization business, as well as electrolyzers. So we have a fairly wide portfolio, and part of our move from the conventional fossil fuels, which we don't play in the area of coal, but more so but we want to move away from natural gas, and we see natural gas as a transition fuel, eventually moving into low carbon options. So what I will be covering is why is ammonia an important gas turbine fuel, how we as an industry partner are collaborating with academia as a mainstream fuel, and eventually a summary of the discussions as well. If you look at the broad scale, it comes to the energy trilemma. So it's energy security, affordability, and sustainability. So why is this important? Because in the fuel forms today, they will miss out on at least one of the three pillars that we see. If it's natural gas or from a sustainability standpoint, even though it's more affordable and it's secured. Whereas if you take the local, affordability is an issue, whereas it's sustainable and it's also sort of secure. So it basically means that whichever form of energy generation we have, we need to have the fuel flexible. We need to be able to use multiple fuels in the generation form itself. So whether it be gas turbine or other engine. So that leads me to this picture. So if you look at Asia Pacific in specific, you have the production centers where you have a lot of renewable energy available. So typically that is Professor Agustin also spoke about Australia. So Australia is a massive production center because there is quite a bit of land available. And of course, being closer to the poles, they also have significant density is quite high. And in addition, there is also abundant solar in Australia. So that's us in generating sufficient renewable energy, which can then be used to produce hydrogen. And the reliable form of hydrogen carriers is ammonia. So ammonia is then produced and then transported. So given that Asia Pacific is mostly islands, so most of the countries by water, having a pipeline to transport the hydrogen is not impossible, but which then means that you have to have shipping containers transferring this hydrogen. And today, given the density and the volumetric density, ammonia is the most trusted form of hydrogen carrier. So when we convert hydrogen, we lose about 8% of the energy content. So once it's transported to the destination it's needed, you're either required to do any of these three options presented, which is you have a centralized cracker where you crack ammonia and you produce the hydrogen and then transport the hydrogen via a network of pipes, or you have a in situ, so you have a more local cracker where you're cracking as required in the area where it's needed, and then lastly you have a direct ammonia firing as well. So these are the three options. The problem with 100%, which is the first option, would then mean that we lose 25% of the energy content. So in total, a third content is lost from the time the hydrogen is produced to the transfer to ammonia and then back to hydrogen. This then leads us to using ammonia in its direct form in the gas turbine. And there we have the option partially cracking or fully cracking. So if you look at this picture, this just shows you have natural gas as your easy option because it's well proven in the gas turbine. You already have plants that you can use and you can directly burn it in the gas turbine. And then you obviously need a carbon capture unit at the back end. The second option is to produce hydrogen and then you transfer the hydrogen via pipeline and use the gas turbine. So today, the Siemens Energy gas turbines, depending on the size of the gas turbines, can burn anywhere from 5% hydrogen in the gas turbines. And eventually, it will be able to burn 100% hydrogen. So the third, we're looking at derivatives of hydrogen. That's where ammonia comes into play. So once you ship the ammonia, you can either have a central and use the cracked hydrogen in your gas turbine, or alternatively, you can use forms in the gas turbine. So you have the flexibility to use the ammonia in its direct form, partially cracked, or forms like biofuels as well. And that's pretty much what we want to focus on. We want to have that fuel flexibility. So what are some of the downsides of having the conventional option of the first option is CCUS, which is the carbon capture, utilization, and storage, in capex and space. So what does it mean by significant capex and space? An initial study showed that the CCUS you need is almost the size of the power plant itself. So you need twice the space. So for countries which are very limited on space, this is going to be a big challenge to allocate the space needed for CCUS. Second option is with liquid H2 transfer, it comes at minus 250 degrees C. There are very few containers in the world today that can do minus 250 degrees C. Third, the infrastructure for H2 is significant. It needs a significant amount of investment as well, which by itself is a challenge. And lastly, we lose the 25% energy content, which I spoke about as well. So to a large extent, if you look at what's important, it's the infrastructure challenges we will see, which is quite significant from a cost as well as technical capability as of today. So that's where we feel that ammonia comes to the rescue. The CO2 capture is irrelevant. The transportation can be done at minus 33 degrees C in its liquid form versus hydrogen. LNG infrastructure is more than sufficient to transport ammonia. We have had significant in its other form where it's used in fertilizer production, and the loss in energy is 8% conversion of hydrogen to ammonia, and we really don't have to worry about the additional 25% needed to crack the hydrogen back to. So when you talk about scale, if you look at the left hand, it's about how much ammonia is needed. So that is our SGT 800 gas turbine, which is one of the flagship gas turbines. Have intermediate range, produces about 55 to 65 megawatts of power. And in order to run that for a 3-month period, we need about 50,000 tons of ammonia. So roughly for a year, you need about 200,000 tons to run that machine. So there's a significant ammonia requirement from a power generation perspective. And if you look at the reports, they say starting from 2035 until 2050, about 80 million tons of ammonia will be used for generation. This could be either as an alternative to coal in the coal-fired power plants, or it could be direct ammonia in the gas turbines. And we feel that firing ammonia in the gas turbines is a lot more efficient because you do not have any stranded assets because you'll be able to use your existing assets instead of coal-fired power plants. And importantly, the efficiency gains. So you get an additional 4% efficiency gain in using ammonia in the gas turbine plants. So that takes me to the right-hand side. So if you look at the different options there, fully cracked, partially fired, from a combustion technology, we're still not there. I think Prof. Yan, some of this as well, and Prof. Yibing previously covered about use of swirl burners. So that's an area where we're researching. The second part is from a fuel processing capability. Today, if we actually cracked or pure ammonia, then it needs to be tailored accordingly. The fuel system, the delivery system system. Everything needs to be modified to a large extent. And lastly, safety is a concern because ammonia leakable. And that's where I think the existing experience we have with ammonia comes to our rescue. So we talk a lot about the benefits of ammonia, but what are the limitations? This is also covered by Prof. Hibing. In terms of any combustion fuel, that we look at 4 aspects: temperature, ignition temperature, flame speed, and lower heating value. And when it comes to these 4 elements, ammonia directly available fuel that can be combusted right away. This then leads to a pilot fuel that's required. And that's where I think Prof. Yanning touched on the fact that it will be a staged combustion. Pilot fuel like hydrogen or natural gas to get to the right flame temperature and then eventually burn ammonia. The fuel toxicity is another concern as well, because you know that there are health and safety aspects in using. And lastly, we also heard a little bit about the nitrous oxide and N2O emissions as well. The fuel corrosivity in terms of using ammonia directly in the pipelines is another issue that needs to be addressed. That leads me to the second part in terms of industry and academia collaboration. So this is quite a familiar slide, and we have been working quite closely with SINTEF in Norway, as well as with Prof. Agustin and Cardiff as well. There are some joint publications as well, where between industry and academia, we have sites in terms of early stage pilot combustion of ammonia as well. Why I'm talking about this collaboration is industry alone will not be able to scale up this technology. We need a lot of cooperation with academia as well. And this we think could be this collaboration and SINTEF, we think would be a great way for us to progress this technology as quick as possible. So Prof. Yanning touched on this as well. So there are 5 work packages. Cover aspects of modeling, which is work package 1 and work package 5. One talks more about the catalytic modeling, more about the thermodynamic modeling, and in between we talk about the new technology we want to develop. And why this integrated crack? The primary reason is because footprint is a big concern in struggling with space. And Singapore is a classic example where space is limited. So in integrate the cracker within the package or the power plant itself, there's minimal space to develop that pilot fuel we need. And why not natural gas, and why hydrogen as a pilot fuel for the initial pilot fuel? Then there is a carbon element associated with it. Then again, we need to have a capture mechanism as well. Whereas in the use of hydrogen as a pilot fuel, that part of the problem is other issues, but one of the main issues is space, and CCUS is not required in using hydrogen as a pilot. So lastly, why is it different? Because Siemens Energy focuses a lot on using hydrogen as a fuel in the gas turbines as well. In Europe, which are more landlocked to a large extent, there are existing infrastructure and pipelines and that for transporting hydrogen. Whereas in Asia, you don't have that capability, which then means to find another way of burning low carbon fuel in a gas turbine, and ammonia is a good in terms of developing the technology. So this slide more draws the comparison between Europe and Singapore. So if you look at the core technology and partnership in Europe, what we did was we had a partner. So they are a paper and pulp company. So we've had an initial testing done on the SGT4 which is a 15 megawatt gas turbine, and it is running 100% on hydrogen today, with the same would have with natural gas. So this just shows that we can really scale research into more mainstream commercially available products, and we want to translate that same purpose into what we want to do in Singapore. And that's where we want to look at how we can potentially use this our 800 SGT 800, which is a 50 megawatt gas turbine, as well. That's a good start for us, and we want to use that as a platform to commercially make this technology. And lastly, a quick summary. So to achieve of sustainability, affordability, and security, fuel flexibility is very important. It's significant. Is a viable low carrier fuel that can potentially serve as the fuel of the future for the gas. Lastly, collaboration between academia and industry is vital for us to progress this and make this commercially available. So that's the last slide I had. Thank you very much. Thanks for your time.
Thank you very much for that incredible presentation, plenary on the work that US and also Siemens have been conducting. And with that, we'd like to thank our speakers with just and with that, I'd like to then invite you to our first break, and then to come back in 25 minutes to then continue with us. So thank you, and see you now in the lobby.